many of you have ever gotten one of these happy little boxes from Amazon? You know, it's always filled with good stuff, makes you smile. But has there ever been a time in your life when you got this box, but you really didn't want it? Maybe the boss walked in your office one day and said something like this: Joe, we've been thinking about it and we're going a different direction, and you're not going with us. Take this box, fill it with your stuff, and vacate the property. And you took this box, you filled it with your pens, your pictures, your plants, your hopes, your dreams, your self-esteem, and you walked out that door. But do not despair, my friends. Do not despair. For tonight, I'm going to show you the 3 secrets that Toastmaster gives us all for flipping this box. But tonight I also want to specifically address anybody in the audience who thinks they'll never need these skills because they'll never lose their job. I used to believe that. I still remember my daddy telling me, Joe Mike, you work hard, you show up every day, you do what the boss said, you'll have a job forever. Maybe your dad said something like that to you. Well, if my dad were here, I would just tell him, Daddy, it just ain't so, and here's how I know. Well, in 1995, I'm VP of Marketing for a company that's importing high-end dishwashers from Sweden. We're revolutionizing the industry, and we're killing it. We doubled the size of that company every year for 10 straight years. My advertising and marketing is considered some of the best in the world. And you're asking yourself, man, Joe, it sounds like a great job. What could go wrong? What could go wrong? Well, I'll tell you what went wrong. We were so successful, one of the biggest appliance companies in the world bought us. With new ownership came a new president. With a new president came new leadership and direction. And unfortunately, he walked in my office one day and said, Joe, we don't need any advertising marketing anymore. Take this box and go. And I did. And unfortunately, I walked out of there and I realized pretty soon that I was going to be against this wall for a long time. Because, see, I didn't have what it took to flip this box. The frustration of getting fired from my dream job showed, and that's not good. My networking skills were terrible. That's not good either. And my interviewing skills, well, they were just pathetic. Needless to say, I spent a year up against that wall. Now, I did eventually get another job. I worked my way back up to being VP of Marketing. I was working for a company that made trophy metal, the little plaques that go on our trophies and everybody else's trophies. We sold a lot of them all over the world. Problem is, they couldn't make much money at it. And they hired me to turn that around. The year before I got there, they lost $100,000. The next year there, my first year, we made $100,000. The second year there, I had these guys growing at 20%, 4 times faster than the rest of the industry. And I had even implemented the first commission system. Imagine, salespeople now had a reason to work hard and close better deals. And one of them did. Pat went out one day and landed one of the best jobs we ever had. We were going to make $150,000 from it, and she was going to earn $30,000 commission. And you're thinking to yourself, gosh, Joe, this sounds great. You did just what they told him to do. What could go wrong? What could go wrong? Well, I'll tell you what went wrong this time. Tight-fisted boss walked in the office and said, Joe, we're not paying Pat $30,000 commission. I said, man, we got to. It's in writing. We promised it to her. Said, I don't care. I said, boss, I ain't reneging on my promise to Pat. He said, well, if that's the case, take the box and go. And I did. And this time I was against the wall again, but I realized that when I got back against this wall, I had done something very smart this time. I had joined a Toastmaster group, and I learned the 3 secrets to flipping this box. 1, I learned how to handle my frustration, turned it from frustration into rejuvenation. How? Well, I'm smiling through all those heartbreaking evaluations, from picking myself up and dusting myself off after these contests. And great mentoring. That was the third way. Caring, supportive mentoring. Secondly, I learned that networking is just like table topics. Well, you have to be able to stand on your own 2 feet, you have to listen well, and you have to be able to tell stories. And third, I learned that interviewing is just like giving a speech. You have to know your audience, you have to prepare really well, and you have to be able to smile and tell good stories. And when you put all that together, this is how it works. One night I'm out walking the dog. I see a neighbor in his garage. I go in there and we're having a good time, and he has no idea I'm looking for a job because he can't sense it on me. But I tell him, hey, by the way, I'm looking for a job. He said, well, that's interesting because we have an opening. I go, well, that's interesting. Can I give you my resume? And he says, sure. And so I did. He sent it to St. Louis. The phone rings. I have a great phone interview. They think I'm the happiest guy on the planet. They said, can we have a face-to-face interview? And I said, sure. Buy me lunch anytime. So I met a guy and we had a lunch. He walked out of that lunch, called St. Louis, said, hire Yoder. And that's what they did. 5 years ago, they gave me the job that I have now. And I'm proud to say that at 69 years old and during a pandemic last year, I made more money than I ever did selling trophy metal, more money than I ever did selling appliances. So Toastmasters, if you ever get this box, be glad you're a Toastmaster because you contain all the skills necessary to flip this box. Go on, Toastmaster.